Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today. We are going to map out an incredibly exciting roadmap, pulled directly from a comprehensive university syllabus for mobile application development. Now, this isn't just about reading code from a textbook. No way. This is a complete journey that takes you from understanding basic syntax all the way to deploying a fully functional, real-world mobile application. Whether you're aiming to build the next big startup app, or you just really want to understand the mechanics behind the software you're tapping on every single day, this explainer is going to be your guide.
So here's a roadmap. We'll start with your mobile app journey, then building the Flutter foundation, crafting interactive user interfaces, powering apps with data, testing and launching apps, and finally, measuring your success. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, your mobile app journey.
Before embarking on this grand adventure, you got to make sure you have the right gear in your inventory. You know, you can't build a skyscraper without knowing how to pour concrete, right? So, to really crush it on this path, you need some foundational knowledge. We're talking prior experience with Java, Python, and full-stack development. And why does this matter? Well, because those object-oriented principles from Java and the back-end logic from your full-stack labs, those are the exact mental muscles you're going to be using here. You aren't starting from scratch, you're just translating what you already know into a totally new environment.
And that new environment is all about our primary tool for this journey, which is Flutter. Now, Flutter isn't just a simple tool. It's a massive framework for cross-platform development that leverages the Dart programming language. Think about the old days. You had to write one app entirely in Swift for iPhones, and then a totally different app in Kotlin or Java for Android. Well, Flutter is a total game changer. You write your code once in Dart, and Flutter translates it beautifully to both iOS and Android. It is brilliant. This 30-hour course structure is a super focused, step-by-step progression. You don't just jump straight into complex cloud databases. No way. You start by mastering Dart basics and crafting the visual UI. Then you integrate a Firebase backend to really give your app a memory. And finally, you test it and push it out into the real world. It's just a beautifully logical flow.
Section 2, building the Flutter foundation. Okay, before you can run, you've got to learn how to walk. And in the programming world, walking means saying, "Hello world." Module 1 is all about getting your hands dirty with the Flutter SDK. You'll install the environment, grasp the basics of Dart, and actually launch your very first app. But here's the real secret sauce. You aren't just typing words on a screen. You're learning the core philosophy of Flutter, which is that literally everything is a widget. You'll learn how to construct widget trees and element trees, and you'll understand how widget lifecycles actually work. This is the structural DNA of every single Flutter app out there today.
Section 3, crafting interactive user interfaces.
Now we get to the visual stuff. This is where we start constructing the app, which is a lot like framing a house. You've got the foundation, so now you need walls and windows. These are the essential building blocks of your user interface. You're going to use common widgets like Safe Area and App Bar to keep your app from, overlapping with the phone's camera notch or the battery icon. You'll master columns, rows, and containers to design layouts that are super responsive and look amazing on literally any screen size. But a house isn't much fun if you can't open the doors, right? That's where interactive elements like forms and the gesture detector come in. You'll program the app to recognize exactly when a user taps, drags, or scales something on the screen.
So, the absolutely crucial point in Module 3 is taking that static framework and making it incredibly dynamic. Because nobody likes a clunky, rigid app. You're going to breathe real life into your interface using tools like animated crossfade and staggered animations. And as your app grows, you're going to need multiple rooms in your house, right? That is where seamless tab bar and bottom navigation bar routing step in. This is exactly where your project stops looking like a student assignment and really starts feeling like a premium professional product. Section 4, powering apps with data.
But listen, a beautiful app without data is kind of just a hollow shell. It needs a functional brain. Let's contrast the visible front-end user interface we just talked about, the Flutter widgets, layouts, and visual animations, with the invisible back-end mechanics that are doing all the heavy lifting. We need to store and process the app's crucial data. You'll start locally, learning how to read and write data using JSON files right there on the device. But what happens when you want your users to interact with each other across the globe?
Well, that is exactly where Module 5 comes in. This module empowers you to connect your app to the cloud using Firebase. You're going to learn the step-by-step process of configuring a Firebase project, adding a Cloud Firestore database, and perhaps most importantly, implementing robust security. This gives your application the power to evaluate, sync, and securely save user data over the internet in real time. Guys, this is the exact same infrastructure being used by major tech companies today.
Section 5, Testing and Launching Apps.
So you've got this beautiful, cloud-connected application. It's finally time to face the boss battle of Module 6. Because you can't just build an app and hope for the best. You have to guarantee that it actually works. Module 6 frames this as a huge, outcome-oriented victory. You're going to defeat bugs through rigorous widget testing, ensuring total reliability with modern engineering tools. And then comes the ultimate payoff. You will successfully deploy a production-ready application as a mini-project case study on both Android and iOS platforms. You aren't just learning theory here. You are creating a tangible, fully deployable product.
Section 6. Measuring your success.
Now, what's really fascinating about this syllabus is how they actually evaluate your journey. The grading structure tells you exactly what the curriculum values most, and it's a perfect 50-50 balance. Out of 50 total marks, 25 are dedicated to continuous assessment. That's your day-to-day lab work, and 25 go to your end semester exam. This just proves that you can't just cram at the last minute. Consistent effort and practical application throughout the whole semester carry the exact same weight as the final exam. Let's break those 50 marks down just a little bit further. Task execution accounts for 20 marks, and your mini-project presentation accounts for another 20. Think about that for a second. An overwhelming 40 out of 50 marks, that's 80% of your entire grade, relies strictly on actual execution and presenting a functioning project. It's not about answering multiple-choice questions. It's about proving that you can actually build the software.
And that brings us to a really beautiful underlying philosophy of this whole course. Way beyond the code, the curriculum is fundamentally designed to foster teamwork, communication, and lifelong learning skills. You're expected to integrate your work as a team, produce crystal clear technical documentation, and communicate your design effectively. Because let's be real, in the tech industry, a brilliant coder who can't communicate is far less valuable than a great coder who makes their entire team better.
We've gone from basic prerequisites all the way to complex cloud databases and live deployment. You now have the complete roadmap. The tools you're learning, Flutter and Firebase, are incredibly powerful, and these skills are universally in demand right now. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. Once you master this syllabus, what kind of revolutionary app will you build? The possibilities are quite literally in the palm of your hand. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building.